Hello, everyone. Happy Eve of the new year. And I greet everybody who is on the Zoom right now. It's been so wonderful for the past few days that every one of us have been able to join this same platform for us to discuss pertinent issues regarding our main purpose in this country. So today we're going to have another discussion, and this time, just as we promised, we are bringing resource persons who are knowledgeable and have in-depth knowledge about every topic that we select to talk about. So it's going to be about tax filing for both J1 teachers and H1B teachers. So our resource person is a CPA, and just as we always do it, we will start with a prayer from a Christian, and the last prayer will be from our Muslim brothers. But before that, we will let our chairman, who is Mr. Edinyra, to give a word. After that, Mr. O will also follow suit because by his effort, we've been able to get the resource person who is the CPA. So, guys, I told everybody to fill up a form with your questions. Some were able to do it, others I'm pretty sure you could not, but you have them written down on a paper somewhere with you. So when our resource person is ready, you can ask the questions after he's answered all the ones that were submitted in advance. So that's how it's going to be like. We are praying that we're going to spend just an hour and 30 on this meeting, then we are done with it. And just as we did for last week, I'm going to record it and upload it on YouTube so that others can join in, watch the vital information our CPA give to us today. So, Mr. Edinyra, before you come in, any Christian to offer us a word of prayer? Any Christian from the participant to offer
They
us a
don't
word?
they don't pray in USO. They don't pray in USO.
Any Christian to pray for us, please?
Pata mmanya mmɔ mpaeɛ.
Thank you.
Homeda Awurade yɛda wo ase. Yɛda wo ase sɛ afe yi nyinaa woawowa yɛn abɔ yɛn ho ban. Na deɛ ɛkyɛn so koraa ne sɛ ɛnnɛ yɛ the last day of the year. Aseda nka wo din daa.
Amen.
Yɛde program a yɛbɛyɛ ɛhyɛ wo nsa. Nyansaboa kɔ Awurade yɛsrɛ sɛ fa nyansa dom kasa ma fɔ mo bɛkasa. Yɛn nso a yɛretie no, ma yɛn adwen na yɛmfa ntie. Na nhyɛ wo din kronkron anuonyam. Na sɛ dwumadie kɔ awie a, yɛde aseda ne ayɛyie ama wo. Wei na yɛsrɛ wɔ Yesu din mu nti. Amen.
Amen. So at the moment, we have 45 people online. Please, I really suggest everybody should mute their speakers or microphones. Yeah, their microphones, and we'll give the floor to Mr. Dinra, and Mr. O will follow suit with just some few words, and Mr. O will introduce our resource person afterward. Mr. Dinra, over to you.
All right. Good evening to you all.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, happy New Year in advance to you all. We are so grateful to have you once again. Today is another critical issue we have to discuss as a Ghanaian group. So I want us all to take note of what the relevant information is going to be and also have the relevant questions to ask them. Thank you once again, and we'll talk again at the end of the session. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Dinra. So, Mr. O, it will be your time from now. A word,
Yes,
and you
sir.
introduce our CPA who is ready on the line to start with us.
Yes, sir. Good
Thank you.
evening to everyone. Sorry, I've lost my voice a little bit. I'm under the weather, so pardon me. Happy New Year to everyone, and I believe today will be a good day to learn. And he called me a while ago, so I'm sure he's on.
Okay.
I don't know whether you've seen him. Yeah, he's on. He will want to show us about taxes. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free. Business-wise, anything related to tax, just ask him. Okay, just feel free. And he's open today. He wants to show us the pros and cons and everything. Yeah. So that's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. So
Yes, sir.
is
Thank you,
is
sir.
it Mr.
Mr. Mark.
Kojo?
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Yes.
here. I'm already here. And thank you very much, Mr. O. And thanks everybody for being on this call tonight. It's I'm so grateful, and it's a pleasure for me to be here. I don't know if I deserve everything that you are saying, but I'm happy to be here so we can share knowledge together. So I was thinking about something now. There are too much money circulating in this country, and then because we don't know the system, and we are just giving away all this money to who? To Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam, we are giving away all this money. We are giving away this money to the banks, to some people, just because we have this miseducation about the system. So my name is Mike. We'll be sharing some information with you. Before we open the floor to some question, if you allow me to share my screen, and I can go ahead and present. I know a lot of people here are from
Ghana.
immigrant and
Okay.
the J visa, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm just going to share about 3 or 4 slides about what I know for that particular visa, and then we open the floor to question.
Okay, sir.
Let me know if I'm allowed to share the screen.
Yes, you are allowed. You are fully allowed. I'll accept at my end, and you're good.
All right. Let's see. I don't think I am allowed here. I say you can request sharing for this meeting. Let me
Okay,
request
okay.
that.
All right. I just accepted, so let's go.
Okay. So let me try it again. Okay. Everybody can see my screen?
It's not loading, so good. It's here.
Okay. Again, the name is Mike, originally from Togo.
Okay.
Togo, that is that very small country, very beautiful country there in West Africa. And I live in the great state of Georgia, beautiful city of Atlanta. If anybody wants to visit us here, you are welcome. We don't have a snow, so as me right there, have worked on my MBA here. I'm a licensed as professional accountant, and I remember in 2000, yeah, that was 2002 when I started working with H&R Block, right? H&R Block, that's the biggest company here in the US and Canada that does taxes, right? So a gentleman walked into the office, and he brought everything, all the documents, and I went ahead and prepared the tax for him. He's a married person. They're supposed to do it married filing joint, right? But because something wrong between him and the wife, I don't know what was the issue, but they are not probably talking. So I did everything, and he said, well, my wife also will come and then bring her stuff so I can go ahead and finish everything and file the tax for them, right? Why am I saying all this? Just the way the system is structured here in the US. Even though they are not talking something wrong, I don't want to know that's between them. But because of the rule, they have to do everything together. So they cannot come together for whatever going on between them. He brought everything, and then later on, the wife also will come and do hers. That's sometime in 2002. And later on, I started doing have my own firm, helping the community. And we are here today. So is to talk about taxes. So basically, what is taxes? Taxes exist everywhere in the whole world. Taxes is just paying tax to on income that everybody has made in the country, right? Even in Africa, the only difference is here in America is very organized and structured because of what? Because of the social security number that we have. Because if you use your social security and work anywhere, they will be able to track that just to make sure how much income you have and make sure that you pay tax on those income. So the tax rate for 2026 is between 10% to 37%, the highest. From the statistic in the history, the highest tax rate we had in the past was 94%. That was 19 something. I can't remember exactly the year, but now the highest is 37, which is good. That means taxes are cheap, right? So we don't have the same tax rates for everybody. It vary. It depends on the income that you made. So being said, it start from 10% and the high is 37% and depends on how much income you made between 0 to this amount, 12,400. Your tax rate is going to be this. So if you are doing it single, joint, or head of household, so this is the tax rate compared to 2024. Actually, we are going to do 2025 tax now. Next year, 2026. So this one basically is for 2025 taxes. But since we will be doing it in the year 2026, we just say 2026. This one was for yours the same thing, 10%. The highest was 37. The only thing that changed was the income, right? The income over here, it was between 0 to 11,000. Here, 0 to 12,000. So that's how it changed every single year. Tax rate. But the main question for us tonight is visa J, right? J1, J2. And the main thing that comes out of that visa is either you are a resident or non-resident. So the residency is test is just based on whether you have a green card or a presence test, these two tests. And this is from the IRS. Even if you are J1 or J2 and you respond to these tests, present tests, this substantial present test right here, you can file as a resident. So I know I already read some of the questions, but what is the big difference between filing as a visa J, or filing as a resident? The main difference is if you file as the J1 or J2, there are so many credits that you cannot get. There are so many credits you can't get. But if the IRS, if the government already gave us a criteria that will qualify us to file as a resident, if you file as a resident, you qualify for all these credits. So my question is, why don't we just take advantage on those rules? That's the question. But taxes, anything that is related to finance and all that, we are all responsible for our own finance. Nobody is responsible for. We have to make sure we understand the laws. We have to make sure we understand the regulation and make the decision that will help us so we don't leave too much money for Uncle Sam and all this bank. So these are some of the information about what the non-resident cannot do, what the resident can do, some of the credits, but these are the list of some of the credit that and deduction that the non-resident cannot qualify for. EIC, what is the earned income credit? Some people say earned income tax credit. So the earned income credit is is credit that you have based on the earned income that you have. But you get more earned income credit if you have a dependent, right? If you have a dependent. And this year, I believe the highest earned income credit we're gonna have this year. Last year was 7,800 and something. This year is 8,046, I believe. So that means if you have if you have one kid, you get an earned income credit based on the amount of income you have. If you have two kids, if you have three kids. So this one is limited to 3 kids. We have other credits also. You have earned income credit, which is the first one. If you're having a kid, dependent children, for sure. We also have another one, which is called child tax credit and dependent care credit. All these credits, if you file as J, you don't get those credits. So that's the first thing. Because we want to maximize our refund, right? Minimize the tax that we are going to leave to Uncle Sam, right? So if there are some credit there, my point of view is how can we possibly do it so we can take advantage on those credits? Education credits, if you file as a J, you don't get the personal exemption, you don't get the standard deduction. It's a deduction. When we take the income, how do we calculate the tax that people are supposed to pay? There is something called standard deduction. Let's say somebody made $50,000. We don't just apply the tax rate on that $50,000. We have to apply the tax rate on the $50,000 minus the standard deduction. So the standard deduction, what is the role of the standard deduction? The deduction, taking it out of the income will reduce the income and consequently reduce your tax liability, tax that you are paying to Uncle Sam. But if you do as J, you don't qualify for this standard deduction. So these are some of the things I grabbed from the IRS, those credits. Earned income credits, the same thing. American Opportunity, that's the education credit. Lifetime credit is again the education credit. And child and dependent care. If you don't claim your child, you cannot get the child and dependent care for sure. So if you keep that status, you don't qualify for those credits. So this one is for the one we are going to get this year, 2025 tax return. And well, let me explain this a little bit. So this is the earned income credit I was talking about. If you have 3 or more qualified children, you can get up to $8,046. Last year it was 7,830, but this year he went up, right? 8,000 something. But we have anytime we say this, when people come to the office or people call you, they say, "Oh, I heard that if you have 3 children, you're gonna get 8,000." But that's not how it works. We have something which is called phase out income. If your income is too much, you're not gonna get that. This credit is going to be zero. You say 3. If you have 3 children and you are filing as a single or head of household and your income is already more than this amount, that means you are not getting this credit. So in order to get this maximum, the income has to respond to a certain criteria, maybe I know that between $19,000 to $24,000, you are going to get all this maximum. No child, you are getting earned income credit for 649. One child, that's the amount. 2 children, that's the amount. So 3, this is the amount. So these are some of the major things in taxes, how we get the income, the tax refund bump up, those who, since we usually fall in low class, right? Like middle class, our income is usually low. So if we have this, we carry this low income and we have children, it helps us to get those credits, and then it makes us happy. So what else? I think that's what I have and I wanted to share with you. And then after everything, I have a tip that I'm going to share with you. But before that, if question can, if we have any question, we can start asking. We can open the floor for questions. And I don't know
Okay.
how we are going
Yes,
to
sir.
ask the question, but
Yeah, one
yeah.
question I have. I think on the group we have J and H. So maybe you look at both of them to see those who are on HPs as well. Is it applicable to them, or they are in a different category?
Yeah, usually they are almost the same. Almost the same. There is the only the difference it makes is you are J or H. So if you are going to file the tax, either you do it not as a non-resident or you do it as a resident. So if you do it as a non-resident, some consequences or implication are there, right? But if you do it as a resident, also the implication, you're just doing it just like American, right? So you have all these credits, and that's what it is. So either is H, J, or F. The main reason is to qualify and do it as a resident, or don't qualify and you cannot do it as a resident and you are doing it as a non-resident. So that's the main thing. I don't know if
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Mike, thank you so much. We have
sure.
someone raise the hand. Linda, you're on floor, please.
All right.
Some people raise
Thanks.
now. Let me see. Okay, Linda raised
Thank,
hands. Okay.
yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike. My first question is with respect to the residents and non-residents, who are considered as residents and who are considered as non-residents. And my second question is, I heard somebody saying as students, like if you are on H1B or J1 and you are schooling, you can use whatever fee that you are paying, you can use that to file for your tax returns, add it to your tax returns, whatever. I don't know about it. If you can brief me about that. And my last question is, I filed my tax H1B. I'm on H1B last year, and then I had dependents, so they had to get an 18. The 18 came this year, and then when the money came, the kids, I don't know where I didn't use the I-10 number because it was late. We filed it before the I-10 came, so we didn't get anything for the kids. Is there any reason for that? Or does it mean that this next year when I'm filing it, I have to add that one to it? Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So if I understand correctly, your first question was about um, who the last question is the I-10, which is the uh, identification number that they give to people who don't qualify to get a social security number, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And can you remind me the first question again so we can to make sure that you address everything?
And who qualifies to become
For the
a citizen,
residents and the
resident?
non-residents.
Yeah. How long, what criteria?
And the second question was,
I think you've dealt with
Linda,
written.
Okay,
the second question.
sorry. My second question was, if you are on J1 or H1B and you are schooling, can you use that to file for tax returns? Thank you.
okay, you welcome. And I think that's a great question, Linda. Thank you very much for that question. It will help us a lot to understand many things. I think we talked about that a little bit during the presentation when we were talking about some of the credit and deduction advantage for those who can. Let me bring this down. Look, okay. So again, this is what I explained before. Education credits. That means you went to school, right? Whether you are H, F, J, if you want to file and you don't qualify as a resident and you have to file as a non-resident, they say anybody filing for non-resident don't qualify for those credits, including the education credit. So if you are in school, you pay a tuition to university or to a college, you're supposed normally to use that tuition and get a credit, right? And when we were filing taxes before, we only had that lifetime credit. But when Obama came as a president in 2008, he introduced this American Opportunity Credit, which is also a student credit, which is great because this one gives you more money just to encourage people to go to school, right? So that's one of his politics. So you do it as a non-resident, you cannot take the school credit. But the first question, what qualifies you as a resident? I think we talked about that before here. If you are you don't have your green card, we all know that before even you have a green card, you have to have your social security, right? So if you don't have your green card and you fall in any other visa status, F1HJ, that means automatically those F1HJ supposed to be considered non-resident. But IRS, the government say, as long as during the year you stay there for 30, you stay and work in America for 31 days during the year, you can file as a resident. So I think it's a great opportunity the government is giving us. Sometimes I'm surprised that some people they don't hear the information correctly. They will come and they say, no, I don't want to do it as a resident because if I do it as a resident, I'm going to pay some taxes. I'm not supposed to pay taxes and all that. But remember, if you don't do it as a resident, you are not getting all these tax credits. You cannot take the EIC, which is the biggest one, the education credit that Linda is asking. You won't be able to take that. Now, coming back to the next, the last question. Anybody asking anything? Okay, so coming back to the last question, which is I-10. I-10 is given to those who don't qualify for Social Security number. If you cannot have Social Security number, that's where, for tax purpose, they give you that number so you can file tax with it. Anybody having I-10 cannot take EIC. You see that 8,000 something I show you? If you have 3 children, they are all having just the I-10. That means you cannot take the earned income credit. They don't qualify for that. The only thing they will give you is child tax credit. That's all they can give you. So I believe that's why, I don't know how, unless I look at your taxes, Linda, for the previous year to understand why some of the credit has not been have not been paid to you. But I'm guessing it's because your child was having only I-10. I'm guessing it's because your child was having only I-10, because that I-10 don't qualify for all these credits. So I usually encourage all my clients to do their best to get Social Security number for their dependent, because if there is a way from the immigration side you can get that Social Security number, why don't we get that? Because that's the only thing that will help us to qualify for all these credits. Linda, did I address some of the concern?
Yes, thank you so much. But H1B cannot get Social Security for their dependent. It is only I-10 because they cannot work. H4 cannot work. That is the issue. But with the child credit that you're talking about, we didn't get anything like child credit for them. So we only had a tax returns for the refund that they gave me, but for the children, because when we're filing, the I-10 number took a very long time for us to get it. So we file it without the I-10 numbers, but we have their names and everything over there, but it didn't come with I-10 numbers. So because I don't know whether because of that, that's why they didn't get the child credit.
So, question for you: are the parents that are filing? They all have social. You guys, you and your husband, just you, or you and your husband?
Just me have social. My husband has I-10. My kids also have I-10. They are all on H4. All H1B dependents have H4. H4 cannot work, so they can't get Social Security. They can only
Yeah.
get I-10 numbers.
Okay. When it comes to all these visa, H1, H and J, all that, it's more immigration, and I don't. I'm not supposed to give advice when it comes to immigration stuff, but from what I know, if those who don't have Social Security, they only have, I think, the best way to do taxes is to do it separate. To do it separate, to allow the one having Social Security to do it separate, the one that don't have the Social Security to also to do it separate. So, because if you combine somebody, if let's say my wife, I have Social Security, my wife doesn't. So if I do combined return, they are going to apply I-10 rule for me, and I'm going to give away all this money, right? I don't want that. So I want to do it separate and then let my wife do it separate also, because she's not having her Social Security. That's the best way to address that type of issue. But now, when it comes to why some people are not getting Social Security number, that one is for immigration. All I know is some people, they call me, they apply for a Social Security, they get it. I don't know how they can get qualified, but I will always recommend that if it's possible for the dependent and the spouse to get a Social Security number, we all have to go ahead and do that, because Social Security number is the point number one to do it as a resident or not. Because if you are having it and you are able to spend at least 31 days in the US, you can do it as a resident and take advantage on all these credits. So, conclusion: if some people in the family are just having I-10, we recommend to do it separate.
Hello, Mr. Mike. If they are, for instance, you are suggesting if you are supposed to do it separately, how do they get W-2? So did they use the same W-2 to file for it separately, or what?
They are not working.
Who is asking the question again? I'm trying to figure out.
Linda.
It's Linda.
Linda, okay, Linda. You say if they are filing separate, are they going to use the same W-2? Is that your
Yes.
question?
Yes, please.
Because they have
Well, if you have a Social Security, if Linda has a Social Security and Linda works, Linda is going to get a W-2, right? But those who don't have Social Security and they have only I-10, they can't even in the first place work, right? So they don't have a W-2.
Yes.
Okay, so you use your W-2. Those who don't have W-2, they may have something. We don't know. If they have something, uh, some company can use, I think, not all company in the US. I don't know how they do it, but I know I have worked with a lot of Mexican people. They don't have Social Security, but do their best to work, and they give them this type of 1099 with the ITIN number. We file tax for them. But to answer your question, which W-2 are they going to use? Are they going to use the same W-2? If you work and you have your social security number, your W-2 is your W-2, right? It's not for your spouse. So you use your W-2. And if your spouse also is having any type of income, he can also use that with the ITIN. Did that make sense a little bit? Or?
Mr. Mike, so what she's asking is the dependents are not working, so they don't have any kind of W-2 to file taxes with. So you advise they should file separately. So in this instance, how is the dependent going to file? On which document would that filing be done?
Okay. Who, if you're saying dependent, who are you referring to? The children or the spouse?
The spouse.
Spouse in the US are not considered as a dependent. The dependent are only our children or those who are we are taking care of, who are relative who are living with us. Spouse is considered the same level as you. But if the spouse is not having social security, he can file separately. Dependent, the children, I believe most majority of children don't work, right? So they are not required to file. One thing that I didn't mention in my presentation is the requirement to file. Who is required to file tax in the US? If you have not made income more than, I believe last year was 11,000 something. This year, I think is or 12,000 or 15,000. You don't have to file tax. You can file if you want to. The IRS is not going to come and ask you why you didn't file. But if you make more than 16,000 and you don't file, IRS can come one day and ask you why didn't you file. So there is something first which is called requirement to file. So if you don't make you can let's say somebody made 9,000 and the federal government took maybe 2,000 income tax out of it. The person can go ahead and file and get that 2,000 back. If you don't file, you are losing that 2,000. But you are not, even though you are not required to file, you have to, for me, not to leave that money to the government. For me, you can file and get the money, but you are not required to file. The requirement comes after you pass your income amount pass a certain level. So in the first place, children usually don't work, but if the husband was able to work with the ITIN and meet the requirement income, that means he has to file, and then he has to do it separate, just to take advantage on the tax credits, right? Because the Linda is having social security, so Linda can do it and get all the credits that all American can get. But the husband, the spouse is not having social security. The spouse can just go ahead and do it separate, because if they do it joint, the ITIN that don't qualify as a resident is going to impact the whole thing.
Yeah,
So again,
Mr.
in
Mike, I think Mr.
conclusion,
Mike,
a spouse are not a dependent. They are also considered like us. They are taxpayer. We are taxpayer. Our dependent are our relative or the children that are living with us. Okay, go ahead, please.
yes, Mr. Mike, I think Linda's concern is the husband does not have W-2. He didn't work because he's on
Oh.
I think H4. So without a W-2, and he never works, so he doesn't have any threshold income. How can does he qualify to file? And if he doesn't qualify to file, how is he able to take advantage of all and also he doesn't have a social security. So how is he able to take advantage of all the credits that he needs to get?
Okay, I think that's what I tried to say. Maybe I didn't say it correctly. Let me show you this requirement to file. the husband does not have social security and doesn't have income. If the requirements say if you are single and you are 65 or less and you made income between 0 to 15,000, this amount here, you can file if you want to. If you don't want, you don't have to file. So that answer your question. The husband who is not having income doesn't have to file, only the spouse who having social security and having W-2 can go ahead and file and take advantage on all the credits. And if the children for Linda and the husband, some of the children are having a social security, because I face that also. Some kids are not having social security, some other kids are having it. I don't know how the immigration is doing it, but I can't really tell that's something related to the immigration. But if the spouse doesn't have income and doesn't have social security number, the best way is to do it separate, and the husband also can do it if he want to with the ITIN. You just have to provide your income. Your income is zero. He doesn't have anything, right? So his file and everything will be 000. That's all. And he doesn't have to do it. He can do it if he want to. But if he is having any income which is more than this, he has to do it. There is no choice anymore. He has to do it. If he doesn't do it, sooner or later, 3 years later, the IRS may come back and say, Mister, you have not filed your tax for this year, something like that. Did I answer the question?
Okay, Mr. Mike.
Yes.
For Madam Linda, I think they are H1B. Now, for me, I'm J1. I have
Okay.
2 children. I have my husband. They all have their social security. Okay. Now, how can I file for tax for them? My husband is not working at the moment.
And your husband is having a social security.
Yes, and my
So,
2 kids are also having their social security.
so if I may ask, is there any particular reason why the husband having social security not having a W-2 didn't work?
He has no job now.
Okay. And so, as I
But they are all
said,
depending on me as the J1.
yeah, I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And as I explained that before, we are the taxpayer. The husband and the wife, we are the taxpayer. The children are the dependent. I know the way we look at things back home is if somebody is not working in the couple, within the couple, one person is not working, we usually say, oh, this person depend on me. But that's not how they look at it here. Over here, even if it's only one person working, that person is the income is for the couple, is for the whole household. Now the children are going to be the dependents. So if your husband has social security and you have social security and you are the only one that have the W-2, and all the children also are having a social security, the best way is to do it joint. Why am I saying that? If we go back, let me share this screen again. Because if we go back and we see how the earned income credit work, here you say what? If you have one child, your income is more than $50,000, only one child, your earned income credit is going to be zero. But if you have one child, this is the maximum earned income credit you can have, right? But if you have 2 children, your income is already 57,300 something. Your earned income credit 7,000 that people are going to get, you are getting zero. So in that couple, that type of couple where only one person is having income, so that income belong to both, is for the spouse, is for you, and it's for also for the spouse. So more likely that income is not going to be big. So you can take advantage on those credit here. So again, to answer that question, if everybody is having Social Security in the family and only one person works, so the good way to do it is to do it joint, because the other person also is having Social Security. So you can do it joint and take advantage on all the credits.
So whilst I do it joint, do I have to use my W-2 since he is not having a W-2? Or any of the dependents are not having W-2? Should I use my W-2 for that?
Yeah, when I try to explain the income first, what did I say? Income, why do we do tax? We report our income to the government, right? In the United States here, it's like we have two type of government, right? The federal, which including the 50 states, the federal wise, we all know that. And the states also, some of the states don't do taxes. But so we just want to report the income to the government so they can take tax out of it. So the government doesn't want to know who the income belongs to. All the government wants is how much is the income for this household, for this couple. So if somebody in the couple didn't work, if one person didn't work, that's not a problem for the government. They just want to know the income. So if only one person works, so that's the income for the whole household. So that's all. The children and the husband, they don't have to have a W-2 before filing together. So the W-2 that you have is more than enough. So you guys can file as a couple. The reason why on the other case we recommend that they do it separate is because one person is not having Social Security. So if we do it joint, they're not the person, the whole house is going to be impacted. They're not going to get all the credits. So I don't know if I'm able. Did I answer the question?
Yes, please.
All right. So the next person is Joseph Osei.
Before we go there, if I can show this,
Okay.
usually, can I make it bigger? Usually, this is this is the form we file for resident, right? The non-resident file NR 1040. So this is where how can I do this? Let me do it this way. So this is where we stay, right? The primary taxpayer stay here. It could be the wife or the husband, whoever is working, having more income, and the other person stay here. So these are the taxpayer. So we don't call this person a dependent. It's not because he didn't have any income or she didn't have any income that we have to call him or her a dependent. The dependent the dependent, all of them stay here. These are our children or the relative that stay with us. So we are going to provide the income to the government so the government can tax us, right? So whether the income coming from the the primary taxpayer or a secondary taxpayer, is everything is combined. The government is interested in knowing how much income here. It's not interested in knowing who the income is coming from. So the reason why we do it separate or not is not coming from the fact that the income is coming from one particular person, but is usually based on the fact that one person is not having Social Security. If you don't have Social Security, you are impacting the return, right? That return cannot have all the credits. So this guy here doesn't have Social Security. We don't want him to be here. We want to do it separate so he can do his own thing, so we can have all the credits. I'm not sure if that is something that helps.
Yeah, I think that is okay to me. So, Joseph,
Yeah. Hello.
yeah, we are listening,
Yes.
Joseph.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think I have two questions, but I think he has dealt with the first question. The first question was how many months am I supposed to stay in the US before I can be classified as a resident? But I think he said 31 months, so that one is answered. Yeah. So
31 days.
The
31
31
days.
days.
31 days. Okay.
31 days, yes.
Okay. So I am in my second year. It means that this year I qualify to be a resident, right? That's
Yeah,
the
to file as a resident, yes.
Okay, right. And I think Mike knows me. I've spoken with you before. This is Joseph in Missouri.
Yeah,
And
Joseph, Missouri. Okay.
yeah, according to my visa sponsor, you are supposed to stay in the country for over 2 years before you be classified as a resident. So that's why I was confused over there. And and my second question is, I think I've discussed this with you before concerning um, our social security and Medicare, which was deducted by our district.
Yeah.
Before later on, our sponsor notified us that as J1 visa holders and non-resident, were not supposed to pay social security and Medicare, which our district deducted us from August 2024 to August 2025. And when we tried to call for refund, they were back and forth that we should go to our visa sponsor, and then they were just throwing us like football. So as we speak today, we've not gotten the refund. So my question is, as the window is going to open for tax filing in January, if I file for tax, can I file for both the refund and then the tax return for 2025? Or as I have to file it separately and then request for a refund? Because as we speak, the district is not ready to give us a refund. And then the visa sponsors are asking us to go to our tax person to help us get a refund. So that's why I'm asking to know, can it be done together when the window is opened?
Me, I like to show things visually because that make more sense if you. So let me try to go get a W-2 on Google so I can share the screen and so I believe you are seeing my screen, right?
Yes.
So the W-2, this is how it looks like, and then we have the wages here. We have the federal income tax. That one, government is going to take it for everybody. But then, if I understand, according to your status, you are not supposed to pay Social Security tax, right?
Yes, and
And the
Medicare.
Medicare.
Yes.
Are you sure you look on your W-2 there is any amount there? Because most of the W-2 that I receive from um, majority of people, most of them, they don't have any amount here. If there is nothing here, that means you have not paid anything. But if there is something here, that means there is a mistake coming from your employer or maybe
Mr. Mike,
your agency. So that's where you need to talk to them so they can resolve that for you. But if you ever want to get it back, there is a form we need to file, and that form require that you have that treaty, the treaty between your company,
country.
the treaty that will be given to be between your country and United States, saying that you don't have to pay this. So that's what make it more complicated, because if you are showing that, that means you're gonna be doing it as a non-resident, right? But the non-residency, that's why the one that don't give you the credit, you see. So the question I have for you, are you sure you have some amount here, or
Mr. Mike,
this? Yeah,
can I add something? So the same thing applied to me. I'm in South Carolina. In our first year, these two things that we are talking about weren't
all right.
deducted. But from the second year, almost every teacher I know in my school district were complaining of the same thing. And I later checked, just as you mentioned, that probably our country may not have a treaty with the US. And yes, indeed, Ghana doesn't have any treaty with the US. So that may be the reason why they are deducting, because we've pushed them so many times and nothing is being done about it.
Okay, so what's the question exactly? Let's say we have some amount here. What's the question exactly? Let's say there is here, maybe there is 1,000. That means you want that $1,000 back?
Yes, according to what you just explained to us, or
Mhm.
what Brother Joseph said, since we are not supposed to be paying Medicare and Social Security tax, is there a way we can get it back? But you just mentioned maybe our countries of origin may not have a treaty with the US. So I'll just adding up to what Joseph said.
Okay, I see. All right. So the best way is to first you need to check with your company. Sometimes those who provide this W2 also they make a mistake. We all make mistake, right? Maybe the person didn't know and he just take all this money out. Whoever is doing your payroll may not know. You know, the person is doing payroll for people. That's how he has been doing it. He knows when he enter the social security in the system, he always make the person pay social security tax, Medicare tax. So he has, but he didn't know maybe this particular person is not supposed to pay social security and Medicare, and he leave it like that. We don't know. It might be a mistake coming from the one that do your payroll, because after payroll, that's end of the year, we have the W2, right? Or it might be a mistake from the company didn't that didn't tell them not to make you pay this, something like that. But for me, if I see my W2 and I see that there is amount here and here, I will be happy. Why? Because later on, if anything happen, this is where what we apply, right? Let's say I have any issue, I fall sick. I will go to downtown and knock at the Social Security office door, right? I want to apply for Social Security benefits. So if I'm not paying anything, if I never pay anything, so how can I qualify? So if you pay this, that means they are considering you that you are maybe a resident, you have all the rights in the US, but we also don't want to leave too much money to Uncle Sam. We want to make sure we get every single penny we can possibly get. So what I can say there is to check this with the employer, your agency, or whoever is doing the W2. Why are they deducting this money for you in the first place where they are not supposed to?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You.
Fredo GH, your next, please.
All right, Mr. Abri, thank you very much. And thank you very much, Sir Mike, for your presentation. I really appreciate it. My name is Frederick. I have been here a few months ago, and this tax filing is very new, especially those of us who have been here for just few months. The only little information I know is that the tax filing is very mandatory, and whether you like it or not, you have to do it. So being an expert and a resource person, could you please break it down for the purpose of those who have been here for just few months, for us to understand it clearly, especially where to start from and how to go about it as well. I know there are certain mistakes that we need to avoid. Can you please highlight on those mistakes, if not all, the common ones that are out there? Can you please tell us some of them so that we will not repeat those mistakes? I know these mistakes can affect us negatively and by extension maybe affect our future visa application. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Fred, that's a great question because we all want to avoid mistake, right? We are living in a country where all the opportunity are, and we all have to try to be here legally and do things legally, right? So during my presentation, I showed that I showed a requirement to file taxes. So there is income requirement. The first one is the income. If you are having income, and actually this is true for the whole world, but in the US and Canada is very structured because we are having this social security number. Canada, they call it social insurance number, something like that. So if you have that number, they can track it because you can come and say, Mr. Federal, I just have $15,000 income this year. But if your social security number works somewhere and have more than that, they know, right? They know. So to answer your question, whether it's mandatory to file tax or not, yes, we all have to file tax, but there is a requirement. The first requirement is from the income. How much income are you having? Which I showed before. Or if you make more than, let me go to that slide. If you make more than $15,000, then you are single. And the other requirement also is the age. If you are 65 or less and you make more than 15,000, then you have to file the tax. Otherwise, you can file if you want to. You don't have to. But this here is the thing. If I made like $10,000 and the federal government took 1,000 out of that, I'm not supposed to file tax in the first place. I'm not supposed, but I can do it. Nobody is going to punish me why I did it. Right? So if it's me, even though I work only 9,000 or 10,000, I will file tax and get that money back because if I file that, I will get that money back. You see, but I don't have to. So if you don't do it, they won't tell you anything. You are just losing your money. So the question for whether it is mandatory to file tax or not, yes, essentially, if we are immigrant, we have to file tax. We have to make sure we file our tax. I always recommend people to file tax, even though the income amount requirements is not, they are not required to do so. I also always advise them to file tax because even if you do that, you are the one that will get something back, right? You are not going to pay anything because you didn't make more than 15,000, right? So you're not going to pay anything if you file, right? So why don't you just file and then you get something back if they already took something from you, so you can get that back. That's the first thing I have to tell you. Second thing is we are so many in this business. I've been doing this for more than 20 years. And then some people also do it the way they do it. But from what I see, what some people bring me later on, if some client have an issue, they bring me. And from what I know, when we go to meeting, right? We every year, once a while, every year we meet somewhere, we have a conference, we meet with IRS agents, we go there. So we bring our issue, the issue our clients are having, we bring it to them, and they also enumerate the issue they are having. I remember last year when I was in Florida, and then one of the IRS agents said, from what we are seeing, if we do tax with these immigrants, we make sure all our people, immigrants, they get a lot of money, but they know, they track everything, they know. But sometimes some people do tax, and I don't know if this is to blame the one who is doing the tax or the taxpayer himself. Because frankly, some people, they want to do the tax. They will tell you, if you are not able to get me $10,000 in refund, so don't do it because somebody say they are going to give me $10,000. No, things don't work. Uh, Doing income tax is accounting, but also regulations and laws. If you cannot get $10,000, don't force it. There is a way. If you anybody who does that, if you want to have $20,000, they will make it for you. We all know how to do that. But is it legal? That's the main question we all need to ask. That's why you want to make sure that you understand the tax basic a little bit and see if you give your W-2 to somebody, for example, and then you don't have any dependents because the dependent are the one that bring more credit, right? You don't have any dependents. And then they say, well, man, you are getting $12,000, you are getting $10,000. Yourself, you should ask a question, right? Because the main purpose of doing taxes is to pay tax in the first place. It's not to get something back. The reason why majority of us get something back is because we fall in the lower classes. Our income is usually not higher. But in the first place, when tax time comes, when people come to my office, those who are from here, when you are doing everything, and when you come and say, "Oh man, your refund is going to be 2,000," they say, "Oh, thank you, God. Oh, at least this year I'm not owing anything." But if my fellow come to the office, you do everything and you say, "Oh, your refund is 3,000," or no, no, make it 5, make it 6. So these are the things we need to start watching. Because if people say like that, other people who are doing the same thing that I'm doing, they have this way. They can make it 12,000, they can make it 15,000, and themselves they take maybe 5 out of that first and give you the remaining. But what did I say in the first place? We are all responsible. Not and somebody else is not responsible for your tax. You are the one that will be responsible. So if anything fire back later, you are going to be responsible. So if the person already took 1,000 out of your refund before giving you the remaining, you will be responsible for everything. So I don't know if that's what you want to hear, but if in that case, I don't really know who to blame. Maybe the one doing the tax or the one asking to do it and get more. We don't know. But all I can say is we all have to make sure that we are immigrants. Our main purpose here is to do everything we can possibly do. And if one day we can get paper and stay in this country, it's a good idea. No matter what people say, America is the land that offers more opportunity than other countries. So if we can stay here, that's good. So we have to do things legally, and everybody who wants to apply for citizenship, for example, or get any paper, they always want to see the tax that you file, right? Even though they already have access to that, they want to see what you are going to provide them and see if you are going to lie, right? Because they already have access to everything. So at least if we are not having the paper yet, at least do things a little bit correct. We are among us. We know some other things. We know how we can help our fellow to get a little more money, or maybe to minimize how much they are going to pay back. But if that thing is too much, just I will say to be careful. That's what I will say.
Okay. All right. So before those who have raised their hands come in, there are some questions we forwarded to you in advance. I want to ask them before. So the next question is it advisable to increase your tax deductibles, both federal and state, on your salary? That's the question, one of the questions we sent you.
I I know I went through those questions, but yes, I do it myself. I do it sometimes. If I'm If I don't want to pay too much end of the year, I do it. I'm trying to see that the physician said something. I can't remember. You are not losing anything anyway. The more they take, the chance that you can get more back. But if they don't take anything, that means you want to pay yourself. So what is that exactly if you increase how much they are going to deduct from you? When we prepare tax, you see on the W-2, let me share the screen again and see. So on this W-2, our income is reported here, right? They report the income here. And then federal will take something. Those states, majority of the states, we do tax, the state income tax will be here. So whatever refund we get back is part of this, because this is how much they're taking from us. If your state does taxes like Georgia, Texas don't, Florida don't, Washington they don't, some states don't. So the whatever you get from federal is from here, right? So if you, let's say I show you earlier the tax bracket, the tax rate. Let's say your tax rates fall in 10%, which is the lowest. And we know went all up to 37. So if you make 50K, and then that means automatically over here we have to have something at least 5,000. So you make sure when you file tax, you don't pay too much. But if you don't allow them and they took only maybe 2,000 here, so you are waiting to pay, to complete, to pay 3,000 when you file your taxes, right? So that's why some people, before we were doing okay, but with this new administration, I don't know how they changed things. That form, which is called the W-4, where you need to claim your exemption amount on. There are some questions that are confusing people. Those questions even confuse the HR people, so they don't understand well. But if you don't fill out those questions, respond to the question correctly on this form, they will not take how much they're supposed to take here for you. So that's where some people end up paying bigly. So if you see that, if you are already watching your paycheck and they are not taking that much, you might want to be careful, and you might even want to go to them and ask them to take more, to take additional money here, just to be okay end of the year, right? Even you can do it here. So to answer your question, the more they take, if you whoever is going to do your taxes knows what he's doing, he must help you to get everything that you can get back. So it's good that you can ask them to take additional tax. I do it myself sometimes. Essentially, sometimes if I'm having two jobs during the year and I know that the money is going to be a little bit high, because more money you make, the tax rate is going to go up to
37.
37, right? So if you make, let's say you make 90 something and your tax rate is going to be 15%. So you want to make sure that 15% is sitting here. Otherwise, you are going to pay back. So to answer the question, you are not losing anything. You just want to make sure if you do that, if you do something like that, you just want to make sure that you have somebody who knows what to do and get that money back for you. At least you don't owe. Nobody wants to owe. So
Okay. All right. So the next one is, what do you do when you get to know that you owe the state from your previous tax file?
that's why you check and see why you owe. If the reason is because they didn't deduct correctly, you fix that, but you have to make sure you fix it January, because next month when we start a new year, the paycheck is going to be based on this W-4 that was in the system. So if you find out that you owe you want to check and whatever you put on the W-4 for the state. So you fix it. So if you don't fix it on time, it's going to be like if you fix it in June, that means the first 6 months was done again the way this thing was. So you want to fix it. That's the first thing. Second thing is to see if everything looks okay. You want to add additional tax, as we are saying, you can do that, and you want to make sure you do it early, January. And I don't know if that's your question. So, what was the situation exactly? Did you owe any money to the state, or?
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what the question is saying. He or she owns money to the state. So, what do you do when you get to know that you owe the state from previous tax filed? What do you do?
Yeah, if you get to know that you owe the state from the previous year, you
Mhm.
fix this because this was in the system. This form we fill it out for the federal, and we fill it out for the state. What does this W-4 say? This W-4, all he says is telling the company, take more tax for me. Company, don't take more tax for me. So on this form, when we are filling out, what are the information on there? Are you married? If you are married, you have your spouse. Is he also going to work? So all these questions depends on how you answer them, so they know how much tax they can take for you. On this form, they will ask you, do you have a dependent? How many dependents? So before we were not having those options to put $2,000 and all that. But with this new administration, if you are filling this form out now, you have people will put those things. So if some people they bring this to me and I guide them how to fill it out, and they don't owe because some of the HR people don't even understand. They just go and they put all this number there. Because so again, to answer that question, if you owe the previous year, the state, not only the state, even the federal, if you owe the previous year, you don't want to owe them anymore. You need to check how you fill out this form because each of us, we always fill out this form. Some people do it online, some other people do it on paper. So you want to check how we fill out this to correct that so we don't hold them anymore.
Okay, good. So the next question is, I have received several wire transfer from both inside and outside the US, and these payments were used to make payments on behalf of family and friends. Will I be taxed on these transfers since they passed through my bank accounts?
Under normal circumstances, if I give you money now, you don't have to provide that. You don't have to declare that and file tax with it. If you ever declare that, that means you are just paying tax for nothing. So you, in the first place, no. So somebody give you money, say do something for him. That's the tax. Why do we file tax? We provide income. In the first place, that's money that has been given to you to do something with it. So it's not like you work somewhere and you earn that income. So that income is not even in the first place for you. Another example, those who do some claim for insurance, let's say God forbid you have accident and you have insurance and you have a claim and the insurance pay you. They pay you maybe $10,000. You don't have to declare that when you are doing your taxes. If you declare, you are paying tax for nothing, right? So for that answer is no, you don't have to. But if you ever declare that, IRS is not going to say anything. You are just paying tax for nothing. That's all. But you don't have to declare that. You are not supposed to.
Okay, good. So the next person is come. We are taking only four questions, and that's it. I think we said 1 hour 30 minutes. He may also have other things to do. So the next four question, Kamasa, you are next, and I see one other hand. We are giving only four slots, so if you want to ask your question, please raise up your hand. Not in the chat. He may not be able to read whilst he's talking, so raise your hand, and it will be much easier for him to address every question. So Kamasa, you are next, and
Yes, please.
good.
Yeah, my
Somebody
first
wanted to
question.
know how he can raise hand also, I think.
Okay, I actually have two questions. My first question is on the requirements for paying taxes. On your slide, there is a last statement over there that says 1099. So I want you to look at that last statement and explain it a bit. What are the 1099 jobs in? I've seen $400 and $600. You can provide some explanation on that. I must also say that I'm new to the system. I've been here for just 3 months. We are talking about taxes here. I know that taxes, you file to pay a tax and then you file to get returns on it. So the W-2, is it being filed to pay the tax? If yes, I know that our employers are taking the taxes already. So would the W-2 also pay more of the taxes from the same money that has been taxed already? Or it is for return of the taxes that we have paid? Thank you.
Okay, a great question, and I'm glad you asked that question because it's very important. We don't have to forget that one because most of us now we do those things, Uber, DoorDash, all these things, right? But as I said before, why do we do tax in the first place? We want to report the income we have to the government so they can take their part, right? Their percentage between 10 to 37%. So where are those income usually come from? If you work as an employee, you get a W-2. So the employee, the company already pay the tax. You can pay tax on your you do prepayment, right? So that's where you see from your paycheck, they will be paying taxes. Part of those taxes goes to the federal, some goes to Social Security, some other goes to Medicare. So that's when you are employee. That employee, the requirement is about $15,000, as I say. And I know you mentioned that 400. So that's the first category of income. Another category of income is being as your self-employee. So the self-employee, you don't get a W-2. You get something which is called 1099. So that one is not 15K. It's only 400. If you are a self-employee and you make 400, that's the requirement. You have to file tax. But 400, maybe whoever you work for, let's say I drive Uber and I made 400. Uber is not required to send me 1099. Whatever they send me from that time is not called W-2 anymore. No. I mean, it's not called W-2, but it's called 1099. So that 1099, if you make anything 400 and less, the company that you work for example, Uber, they are not required to give you 1099. But if you make more than 600, they are required to give you 1099. So why for self-employee, the amount is so low? Because nobody is taking those tax for you. If you work as a Uber driver, nobody is taking the federal tax. Nobody is taking the social security tax. Nobody takes the Medicare tax. So this one is very important for them. They want to make sure they get all down. So when you work at least 400, they want you to report that so they can so the rate is there. Themselves, they will know the rates that they will apply to take federal and take social security and take Medicare. So self-employed are the ones that pay more taxes, tax time. But if you look at it, those who are having a W-2, they even pay a lot. The only thing is they don't know because on end of they have been paying during the year because when they are getting paycheck, they already take those things out. Those who even have retirement, they will be taking all this retirement out of the pay. So they don't feel it during the year, right? But some people who want to avoid that, they just want all their money paid to them. And then end of the year, they will decide how much they want to pay to federal, how much they want to pay to Social Security, and then how much they want to pay to those people. So to answer your question, or if you work as an employee, these you get a W-2. So that one, your employer was already taking tax for you. But if you work as a self-employee, you are responsible for everything. You are responsible to pay your federal tax, responsible to take care of your Social Security and Medicare. So that's why I put that 1099 there. So the 1099 is given to those who are not employee, they are contractors. So it's like they have a business. They are doing their own business. So they can decide how much tax they need to pay. Because if you are having this, you are allowed to deduct all the expenses related to that business. Example, if you're driving Uber, what are the expenses? Gas, maintenance on the car, and whatever you eat when you are working. If you eat something that time, it's expenses for you. So you have to take all the expenses out. So if something remaining here, that's where you pay tax on. That's the one you don't have to pay tax on all the 400. You have to deduct everything that you can possibly deduct first, and which are legitimate, and then the remaining is on top of the remaining you pay tax. So that's the advantage of those who have their own business or working as a contractor. They decide how much they want to pay. How do they decide? Because after they take everything out, the remaining is what they are going to consider before taking something for federal, before taking something to Social Security. But if you work as an employee, you don't have that choice. The employer will take whatever he has to take according to your income, right? So I don't know if I answered that question or
Yes, yeah, but my second question says that the W-2, is it for filing to pay the tax or it is for returns of the tax?
whether it's W-2 or not W-2. W-2 is income.
Okay.
So in the first place, as we said when I started, the main purpose to file tax in everywhere in the whole world is to pay tax, because we are all living in a country governed by a government. So the government wants us to pay tax. So the first purpose, the first reason why we file tax is because we have to pay tax. Whether you have a W-2 or not, the main reason why we file tax is to pay tax. The reason why sometimes when we file tax, we get something back is because when you work as an employee here in the US, during the year, they have been taking tax for you. The federal has been taking something according to how much you want them to take from that W-4 that I explained. The W-4 is the one you are telling them how much to take and save somewhere. So end of the year, when you file your tax and you owe, let's say, uh, let me come back to this screen. So let's say I'm having my W-2 here, and it's about 50K. So with this 50K, let's say I allow them to take only 5K. Normally, it's supposed to be 5,000 they're supposed to take there, but I allow them to take only 2,000. So that means basically when I file tax, I might end up paying back, right? So in the first place, in the first reason, filing taxes means we all have to pay. So when tax time comes, what we have to have in mind is before we even go to somebody's office is, oh, I'm going to pay tax. We are all going to pay tax. We don't have to have in mind that, oh, I'm going to get some money back. No, 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 no. But the reason why we get money back is because whatever they take here, sometimes we ask them to take more than how much we're supposed to. So they have to refund the remaining back to us. If we leave them that remaining, we are cheating ourselves, right? So to answer the question, whether it's a W-2 or 1099, the main reason we do tax is to pay tax. We all have to pay tax. The one that help people to get more money end of the year is a W-2. If you are having a W-2, you feel like you are getting more money back. But in fact, if you look at it, the one having 1099 is the one benefiting. The one having 1099, when he file tax, all he has to do is to pay, right? Because no one ever took any money here for him during the year, right? But he can make a decision end of the year how much tax he wants to pay. But here you don't have, you can't make any decision. The employer has to take all these things. So that's all. You will feel like you are getting a refund, but if you look at it, you are the one paying anyway. Even if you do tax and you get $1,000 refund, maybe you end up paying 15,000. Nobody knows. But if you look at your W-2 correctly, you will understand that you pay.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Steadfast, you are next, and Sir Latif, you'll be after that. Steadfast.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, sir.
Sure.
My question has to do with the number of months that a fellow worked as an employee. For example, you know that within the year you have 12 months. But assuming when I was employed, I only worked for 4 months before the year ended. Do I have to also file tax, or I have to wait for the end of my 12 months in the service before I should file tax? And the second question has to do with the Medicare and then the FICA. Assuming I used to have FICA and Medicare on my pay slip or my paycheck, but later I complained and then they took it off. Do that go against me when I'm to file? Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's start with the last question. It doesn't go against you. In the first place, you didn't know before that you don't have to contribute to the FICA, and you have been contributing to it. So now that you know, you correct that, so that's good. It's not going to go against you. The first one, how many months do you have to work in the year before you can before you are required to file tax? As we said, it doesn't, the requirement is not coming from how many months you work. It's coming from how much income you made. Some people can work maybe 1 month and they can make maybe $20,000. So you are required to file, even though you work only 1 month, you are required to file. Some people can work for 6 months and they made only 10,000. So they don't have to, but they can. If it's me, I always recommend that they do. So to answer that question, the requirement is not coming from the fact that you work only 4 months, 5 months in the year. It's coming from how much money are you having within that 4 months.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Sir Latif, you're next.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I just want to address two questions. Very simple. The first one coming from the first explanation as an H1B holder, and you advise you should file as a resident. Now, if you file as a resident and one day you wanted to file for green card, I just want to know that there will not be any conflict, or that there will not be any conflict over there. And that is all I want to know. I believe it's clear. Number two, if it's very simple, if you work for a different company, as we are, you work for different school, then know that you have to file for differently. And the years, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
Great question, Latif, and thank you for that question. The residency status, the status we claim on the taxes is totally different from the legal status in this country. Whether you are residents or not, for the immigration purpose, that's different. They have their laws. as long as you don't have the green card. I think the green card is the one that made us being a resident, right? But for tax purpose, it's different. The tax purpose, because this country is so concerned about everybody paying taxes, even though the person is not immigration status is not a resident, they are saying as long as you stay in this country for during the year for 31 days and you are able to work, we want our taxes. That's what they are saying. So they want you to do it as a resident so you can pay tax. That's all they're doing. But by doing so, it's helping you because if you have a social security and you do it as a resident, there are so many credits and benefits reserved for residents that are not reserved for non-residents. So to answer the first question, residency for tax purpose and residency for immigration purpose, yeah, I will say it's different. They don't have anything to compare. Second question, if you work for more than one company, are you going to file one by one? No, because why are we filing tax? We are filing tax because we want to report our income to the government. Wherever those income are coming from, we have to report everything on that particular form, the 1040. So if you're having 5W2, 1099, there are other income form like income from bank, interest income, dividend income. You have to put everything together. We don't file them separate. That's that's to answer that question. And to add a tip to it, some people think if you work in 2023, you forgot to file that, you can add that 2023 income to 2026. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
Each year you have to put all the income together for that particular year.
Okay. As a follow up, if you forget to file last year, you should file it early and before this year on. Is that correct?
If you forget to file,
If you could
that
not
means you
file
forget
last
to
year,
file one W2 or all the
yes, yeah,
W2.
that is it. If you couldn't file last year and this new year, you should file previous one before this one. Is that correct?
No, you don't have to file before, this is what happened. So if I'm in 2023, uh, 2000, if I'm in 2023 and I have maybe 3W2, but when I'm filing, I file only two of them. I forgot this one. So later on, when I find out, maybe I'm in 2026, I find out I have to go back to 2023 return and correct that. We call it amendment. You have to
Oh,
amend this. You don't. You can, the only thing you can do, but that time also usually I tell people if IRS don't tell you anything and you know that you are correcting it and you are going to pay back, what do you want to pay back? But if IRS comes back, if you know that it's going to make a major impact, you have to correct that on time so you don't pay too much interest and penalty, but anything belonging to 2024 is for 2024. But you are not required to amend this one before you do the 2024. You can go ahead and do this one, waiting for all the information to correct this one later.
Okay, Mr. Mark, I just wanted to bring a little clarification. I guess what he's trying to say is, for instance, we are getting into 2026, right? And
Right.
I did not file anything at all. I didn't even file it to even make an amendment. I did not file it at all
yes,
in 2024.
exactly.
Okay, so now I'm in 2026. I've gotten another W2. Do I file all at once, or I have to file it separately, or is there a way that IRS allows me? How long am I allowed to file past taxes? Yeah, if I get it, if
So,
that is correct. Yeah.
so
Yes,
if I
exactly.
understand, we are in
Thank you.
2024 and we didn't file anything for 2024. Is that the question? And now we are going to do 2025.
Uh-huh.
in a few days. We are
You
going to
mean the
start with
beginning start in 2023?
so 23, you have not filed your tax 2023.
No,
Is that
it's like we came in 2024. Tax,
okay?
no W2 was filed. 2025, I wanted to file now. So
So the
I had
question for you is, were you having any W2 here? Did you work 2024?
yeah, I worked throughout.
Did you get a W2?
Yeah, but I could not file it. I just
Yeah,
couldn't do
you
that.
can file anytime. You have 3 years. You have 3 years
Uh-huh.
down the road to file. If you don't file within 3 years, IRS can come back anytime and apply some charges and penalty. But this one must not block you from doing this one in few days. In few days, we are going to start this one. But this one, the reason why some people have not filed this one yet is because they are not having all the information. You know, some people have so many W-2, the kids, they don't have all the kid information here, so they can wait. The IRS give them 3 years. But after 3 years, if you don't file, they will come back to you. But the previous year must not block you from this year.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
The next person
But
is Odysseus.
All
Odysseus.
right. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can
Okay.
hear.
Good. My question is very simple. Some people may take it as light. So I asked it in the comment, but I didn't receive it. Yeah. We have some people here who are interested in soccer betting, right? So if I stake a bet and they win, do you have to file tax for that? That's my question. That is it. Thank you.
Soccer betting. What can you give more clarity on that? What is that?
No, I mean bet. I don't know
Bet.
if
Is
yes.
this something you get income out of? Or?
Yeah, when you stake and you win, you get money.
Oh, betting.
Oh, he
Okay.
means sports betting, the FanDuel
Sport
and all
betting.
those
Okay.
ones. Yeah.
Okay. That's a gambling.
Gambling, yeah.
That's a gambling, and this is how I'm trying to share the screen again. That one is called W or J, something like that. There are many forms of income. That those who earn, even if you go to casino, you earn some money. Those people are highly recognized, right? So if you bet somewhere, you do gambling somewhere, you earn money, they give you a W2J something, gambling, standing for gambling. So if you earn any amount of money, the requirement is also there. I think it's 500, over 500. You have to report that. So if they give you that form, the WJ, I believe, that means it's given to IRS also. But if they didn't give it to you, you might want to request that because you have to see the amount that you have there. If the amount is significant, so maybe the company reported that to the IRS without letting you know. If you don't report that, the IRS is seeing it in the record and you file the tax without that, it may come back to you. So, to answer that question, that's the gambling income. The gambling income also need to be reported. Yes.
Okay. All right. So the last one that we'll talk about is Richmond Do. If you are there, you are the last person. Anybody who still has a question, that is a way of trying to promote Mr. Mike. So in order to return our kind gesture, you can have a session with him. I'm pretty sure some are going to allow him to file their taxes. So from here, if you have any other questions, you can just DM him. He will display his card on the screens again so that you can contact him and anything that you need to know about the taxing. And if you want him to file for yours, that would be a great idea. So Richmond, though you are the last person, then we draw the curtains.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Abre. Yeah, Afo.
I'm a fun yellow. Also, you speak away, right?
Yeah.
I like that one. My fun yellow, channel fun.
My question is very simple. I want to know, first of all, if I didn't bring my kids here before I file for my before I file for my tax, will I get anything from the government? That's number one. Number two, I brought my children, got their social security for them, and after that, I allowed them to go back to their home country, Ghana. Then can I continue to be filing for them whilst they are not here? Yes. And finally, uh, I this is not part of what we are discussing, but I just want to know if you can throw more light on within 30 seconds about uh, um, um, credit card. How effectively can you use your credit card to benefit you? Thank you very much.
Sure. So, yeah, my best friend, for the children, to throw more clarity there, when you have not brought them yet, were they having a social security or?
No, they are not happy. They are not yet here.
Okay. So to answer that first question, everybody who does not have social security cannot go on the return. You cannot file unless you want to file and demand the ITIN for the person, so you can put it on. That one takes longer. It has to be done paper. You cannot do it electronically. It has to be done paper-wise. So when it goes to IRS is going to take part of the that form and send it to the immigration that will go through some process so they can provide the ITIN number to whoever is not having it. So that's the first thing. So again, if the kids are back home, they don't have social security, that means they cannot go on the return. Now, when the kids are here and they have a social security, you have to put them on the return, right? Because you want the credits. But if they are still holding that social security and they went back home and they stay home, you can still claim them. The only thing, you might probably not be able to get all the credit, because if you have a kid, a child bring more than two credits. The first one is earned income credit, as we say, the biggest one. The second one is child tax credit. The third one is additional child tax credit. And the fourth one is daycare, like the child care credits, if you take your kid to daycare. So you are getting all these four credits. So, if the kid is back home, you may get some of those credits, but not all. But if you know who is doing your taxes, the person really wants to help you, the person will do it the way you can get everything back. That one, there are certain things we can, according to the HIPAA regulation, we can discuss one-on-one. But if the kids are back home and they have social security, yes, you can still claim them, but they may not bring all the credit back to you. Now, coming back to the last question, which is credit card, how we can use credit card. That's a great question, and that's one of the tip I wanted to throw there. But it will be challenging to understand that if we don't comprehend everything, how the system works here. But the way the system works here, um, so for if I may ask, are you having some credit card that you are using?
No, I've not started yet because I just came. I'm in my fourth month.
Okay, so you are trying to see whether it's a good idea to get a credit card or not.
Yeah, I really want to understand it before I embark on it, please.
Okay. So that's part of the tip I wanted to throw there. Let me go ahead and just do it right away. Am I sharing the screen? Can you see the screen, please?
Yeah, it's coming out. So okay.
Okay, so credit cards, before we involve ourselves in that type of credit card, we need to understand how the system works here in the US. So when we all come to the US, or whether we are born here or we come here, there is only two systems that govern this country. The first one is like a default system. That's how everything is. Everybody is doing it. We don't understand how and why they do it. They just do it. So that's the default. By default, everybody does that. So I'm also doing it because that's what everybody does. The second one, I call it a design system because this country give you opportunity to design your own system, so you don't leave all the money to Uncle Sam and leave all the money to the bank. So in this guy, Albert Einstein say, compound interest is the A wonder of the world. He who understands earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Why is he saying that? Do we understand why we take a credit card for $5,000 and then when we finish paying everything, we pay like a $50,000? Do we understand that? Because of the power of compound interest. So that's what he's saying. All the credit card works like that. All those who buy house, they will tell you, you buy house for $200,000. When you finish paying that house in 30 years, you will pay like $900,000. Why that? Why can you buy something 200 and you pay 900 in 30 years? Why we take a student loan? Right now, I'm having a student loan. Why do we take a student loan and we go to school? We take a student loan for $50,000 and we finish school. We pay for the first 5 years. And after 5 years of paying, you still have a balance of $55,000. Why? Because of this, the compound interest. So the credit card, the average interest rate for the credit card is between 20 to 30%. If I'm showing this thing I'm showing you on this screen, we are going if we there is something called simple interest, compound interest. That one we can take ourselves to elementary school to understand the difference between simple and compound interest, right? Simple interest is what is interest that you pay just on the original capital amount. But the compound interest is you are paying not only on the original, but also on the original and the previous interest. So that's the main difference. So if we invest this $100,000 at 10% in simple interest account and compound interest account differently, after 40 years, that's the difference. After 40 years, if you put $100,000 in simple interest account after 40 years, you are getting how much? $500,000. But if you put it in compound interest, you are getting how much? 4.5 million. But this is how the credit card works. So credit card, we are paying compound interest. So I don't know if some people on this call have a credit card. You will even notice that they will advise you just to make a minimum payment. So the rest of the money will be there and compounding, so you can be paying forever. So it's now is up to us to make a decision because even if you don't have that credit card, you are not building credit, right? You have to have credit card, spend that payback so you can build credit. So when you want to apply for something later, you can qualify for loans and all that. These will give you kind of easy access to things in this system. You just want to know how you, if you get a credit card, how you can be paying back on time so you are not victim for this compounding system. That's what I will say. So for me, the credit card, if you whatever you get, you don't just pay the minimum. Like if they say the minimum is $50, if you know that the balance is 2,000, pay the whole balance. Don't just pay the minimum. Paying the minimum will make you pay for a long time, and you are just giving your money away like that. So I don't know if I
All
was
right.
clear enough, but
Thank you.
that's what I
Thank
was.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mike. So those who
Hello,
were
Mr. Mike.
asking for,
Yeah, Mr. Abre.
yeah, Mr. O.
I just wanted to draw your attention to a question on the chat. They say if my kids have social security and they came to the United States and left, can you continue filing tax in their name and claiming it every year?
I
So
think
that's in
he
case.
answered that from Richmond, right?
Yeah, I think I already answered that. I say
Yes,
yes,
he's
you
answered
can
that.
claim.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, all right.
All right. So
you can
those who
claim that.
were asking for Mr. Michael's number, that is on the screen. As I said, as a kind gesture for repayment, kindly let's try and file our taxes with him. And that's his card. He's in Georgia, but since he's in the US, he can work with you in any state that you are. So the number is 404-399-3051. 404-399-3051. Over to you, Mr. Dinura.
Okay, thank you so much, Uncle Mike. We are so grateful for your time. This has been very educative. We learned a lot. So many questions I think many people have. Unfortunately, we can't ask all of it, but we'll definitely reach out to you so that we can bring our questions to you. And we know we are very optimistic that you will provide the necessary responses. Yes, folks. We are thankful to you guys again. And as Mr. Abri said, if you have any questions, go ahead and contact Uncle Mike and he will give you all the necessary information. And I know many of us will be filing our tax with him this year. So let's try our best to do that. I quite remember some members on this platform had issues filing with some other person, and
I
unfortunately,
wanted to finish fast and go and pray.
yeah, many people have actually been affected in terms of tax refund. So let's do the right thing and let's get a right person to file for us. So thank you so much and Happy New Year once again in advance. I think Ghana is already over and we are waiting to get into it too. So thank you so much.
All
All
right,
right.
my pleasure. My pleasure. Time to thank you also for the consideration. And I know some people join late. I throw my number in the chats in case you have any question. You can always reach out to me later. I will be more than happy to help. So again, I don't have to hold you here for long. This is 2026 is going to be a year of explosion, and I want to wish each of you good luck, many more happiness and joy.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So,
sir. We appreciate it.
all right, so members, our next meeting will be around Easter. So we are still trying to communicate with the admins about topics that we will bring resource persons on. So we'll let you know if any update comes on that. Thank you, everybody who joined. God bless y'all.
Thank you, sir.